So anyway, what's
That's how intros works.
Yes.
It was Jerry O'Connell's dimension shifting show. So it's Jerry O'Connell, a jazz singer, an old man, and a woman. I believe they had roles, but that's how they cast them. Traveling between dimensions, pretty much like seeing alternates. It was a dumbed down string theory. It was so what if the Nazis won World War II?
Okay.
What was an arc?
What happened?
That's unfortunately that's where the show kind of gets really boring and just kind of keeps going in that direction. But most of it was like episode to episode. It was like 1 hour to do the thing. It was Quantum Leap for like a decade later. Quantum Leap was a show.
I know what Quantum Leap is. No, I know what that is.
Yeah.
It had the guy in the dad in Chuck. He played the
Scott Bakula?
That's the one.
He was in Chuck.
Yeah, he was the dad
good.
to Chuck.
I would have never known that.
Nope.
That's the only reason I know him. Because my dad would say, "Oh yeah, he was in a show called Quantum Leap. It was awesome." I was like, "Okay, thanks, Dad."
I'm never gonna need this information.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pike.
5 years later, it's coming back.
Oh boy.
Go ahead. What?
It was a good era for sci-fi though. Like I feel like there was so much.
Okay, so I feel like
Yeah.
what?
I
you
feel
feel-
like
You know, very strongly.
I'm trying to think like what my generation,
our generation.
because like y'all are talking about like what each generation was known for.
Well, like
Like all I can think of for my generation is like the Scary Movie
well, what's
series. Like, and that's sad. I really hate that it is, but
I
I
don't
was
think
thinking-
that defines.
I don't think it defines it. And terrible.
I don't think
Star
Sliders
Wars
defends
sequel.
it.
I mean,
Power Rangers. That's
Well, that's
what our
television.
generation-
That crosses a lot too.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's great. I love Power Rangers. Teen Titans,
no.
Well,
the
because
animated series.
those are also outside of Power Rangers. They're all reappropriations of earlier pop culture.
Yeah.
Even Scary Movie is an even more postmodern take on a postmodern property.
Power Rangers is Voltron.
Yeah,
Power
Rangers
that's
is
true.
all-
But they're all. I mean, it's all Sentai. It's all like that's the thing. Is like you were already in Teen Titans falls into this too. It's like Japan had influenced us at that point.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Like you take it for granted. Like
Yeah.
Dragon Ball's on, Power Rangers is on, Teen Titans. You know, like especially first
that's-
Teen Titans that had the like manga like pop-ins and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
Like all of that right there was my after school activity.
Same.
Right.
Yeah,
Power Rangers,
absolutely.
Teen Titans,
Mhm.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, everything. Like I was guaranteed. I got out of school at 3,
Mhm.
got home at 3:30.
Yep.
That's what I did.
Like
Same.
globalization had already kind of like happened. Like I was, I'm old. I'm 37. I was getting anime on VHS tapes in the 90s.
Oh, that sounds
But-
awesome.
It was.
It sounds very
It made
black
it.
market.
Yeah.
Was it?
You got some anime?
Yeah, guys. No, it was well, it sort of was black market because it was these Columbia House things that were oh man, Movie Pass is sort of modern day Columbia House because it was like 10 CDs or 10 movies for 99 cents.
Columbia House was good.
Columbia
Did you
House and
miss out?
BMG. Yeah, it was for a long time. If you got in trouble and said that you were underage when your bills came in.
Jeez, should have
totally
convinced my
happened.
parents to do Columbia House. Could have
Yeah.
got so many videos.
Yeah, no, I did because that's how I saw
Ah.
Akira before. Because Sci-Fi Channel is kind of what introduced a lot of the West to anime. Because it was like Sundays was kind of like MST3K's run in the morning.
Really?
Oh. Okay.
Which for me, we didn't have Comedy Central for a while because they had the earlier MST3Ks. Sci-Fi picked up around season 7, I want
And
to
then
say.
did Toonami just kind of pick up?
Toonami was
Because that's my first introduction to
Same.
anime.
that would have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
like 97, 98, something like that. Yeah, because they just had a block, and Dragon Ball Z was like the thing. It was just like,
Yeah.
we're going to put Dragon Ball Z, we know people are going to like that.
And it was awesome.
Sailor Moon. Was,
Yeah, Sailor Moon was awesome. Yeah,
Sailor
yeah.
Moon
Start dipping
before
things
school.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I watched Yu Yu Hakusho. That's
sure.
my
There was a
true
lot of,
anime.
yeah. There was especially, like, the card-based stuff took off after Pokemon 2 because, there was a lot of, like, merch. I mean, like, Beyblade,
Yeah, I
stuff that
remember
had, like,
Beyblades,
game tie-in stuff, yeah.
Well, that
even
was-
even Magic, I think like Not an anime, as far as I know.
No,
but like,
As far I like he's like as
yeah,
far as I know.
I don't know. There could be a really hot anime.
I mean, sure. There's probably an underground magic anime. Someone's working on it.
Right
if
in.
not, we are right now.
Yeah.
Right into Fight or Flight.
That's the animation house.
That's the animation.
Is Fireflight.
It was, I don't know, I like, it interests me, like part of nerd culture to me has always been seeking out the things, and it's always kind of been like trying to find them to a certain degree.
Yeah.
It's almost you get a high off of it.
It's the larger discussion is that of like ownership and entitlement sort of thing. Because there's, like, when you're doing that, you do feel a certain amount of it, and then corporations just figured out how to kind of to build that muscle, and now there's that ownership side, plus you kind of feel like you're owed all this free stuff. I think ever since music became free, I feel like the world changed a lot when it was just sort of like I paid $20 for a CD back in the day. So when
that's
like
unheard of to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bit. That was real. That was a genuine reaction.
Right.
I remember
like,
buying my first CD, but now it's like it's dumb. I'll just pay $10.99 a month.
Yeah.
And get all the music I want.
Well, like that's why like that streaming shit like Napster and stuff around like LimeWire and the stuff before it was such like a punky like fuck you at the time, because it was like we knew we were being gouged, so like went the other way, and now it's like, oh, we can't pay for music anymore, right? Because it's right there.
Yeah.
We have everything in front of us.
Unless like you reach the fandom.
Yeah.
Like,
well, like eventually it did. Like it took a long time before it felt like once you felt like your dollars were going to the band. Like I liked stuff like Bandcamp, or I guess like even like once people were paying for individual songs, shit like that. But yeah, it was. That's why like all those streaming services came by, and I think that's why a lot of people like stole movies and TV at the time too, because it felt like there was such a huge gap.
Right. Well, this also just dawned on me is kind of tangential, but with all the streaming services we have and all that and instant access, are people buying less physical media and like just like?
I think that's easily yes. I mean, I used to buy it. One, disposable income, but if you're, I think part of it is like you have a good shot of getting the best version streaming, right? Because they can update, right? Like I have so many DVDs.
I don't think people think that at all.
Okay.
I don't think people think that at all. It's why VHS won over Beta. It was the convenience factor. I don't. Even though Beta had a better picture, it was less convenient than a VHS. And
Beta was so good.
Us nerds like us will care about the best quality.
Yeah.
But also, if you've got a login for Netflix or some other thing, congratulations. Like the FX Now app, I rewatched Mission Impossible movies, and I didn't want to spend the additional cash to go to I Love Video or Vulcan to rent the movies, because they're right there. So I found myself watching TV edited, sanitized versions with commercial breaks in them.
Oh, gross.
But also,
gross. FX Now does that?
It does.
Gross.
And it's not even. I don't even think they bothered to have commercial breaks within there. It just faded to black and then faded back up. So it's just the version that they would put
on TV.
FX.
Right.
And also, it's free. You can log into it.
If you have cable.
I can imagine,
well, how many people have cable now?
But you'll probably have at least one friend that has cable.
But okay, so fair question. Not to dig too deep. Do you have cable?
No.
So you stole this?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I feel like that's dying now. As cable and physical media is like all this old media is being replaced by the new wave of the internet.
But the prevalence, and I'm sure that this model will change, is that something like FX Now or some other TV provider, as cable numbers start to dwindle, they'll just put a number on it. Say for $6 you can have all of these movies that are exclusive to FX. People go, well, $6.
You can watch Spider-Man 2 over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, so they'll pay that, and they want HBO.
Yeah.
People pay for HBO now and HBO Go, and also they crop the pictures and they provide edited versions of the films on certain pieces of them.
Yeah.
Jordan Vogt Roberts, who directed Kong Skull Island, they had a cropped version of that movie on HBO now.
Really?
As well.
And
I
the new
guarantee
It too, right? I believe.
Hmm?
The new
really?
It, I believe.
Probably.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there's no way that anyone that's not a super nerd like us would
Care to notice?
say anything.
I mean,
because
nobody
we just-
stands up to change their motion smoothing, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
because also people don't notice.
Right.
And I think, also I've got lots of opinions on motion smoothing.
yeah,
This is the time to air it out, man.
it's awful.
Well, because motion smoothing is that's a learned behavior. The reason that no one went to go see The Hobbit in 48 frames per second is because it's something that's brand new.
Yeah.
You're perceiving it as cheap because you have never seen film move at a higher frame rate like this. The only equitable piece that you've seen like this are soap operas and cheap documentaries that are all shooting at 29.97. That
Right.
higher frame rate in the back of your brain, you equate that to being cheap, even
Right.
though you're literally doubling the amount of information.
Yeah,
It is
yeah, yeah.
inherently more expensive to shoot it like
Right.
that.
You just assume it's a PBS documentary. And
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
gonna be boring.
Because
it looked
the
like
short-
80s BBC.
Yeah.
Because the shorthand for that visual language is this looks cheap because more frames, even though the motion is more realistic. So, and additionally, because motion smoothing is just automatic default on things, you're going to see higher frame rates get introduced into more and more modern media. I think James Cameron is shooting the Avatar sequels at a higher frame rate, which
Interesting.
I still think The Hobbit is too fresh in the minds, but I think Avatar, and then if James Cameron really pushes it, just like he pushed 3D, there might be more prevalence of higher frame rate pieces as well. You're already seeing it on YouTube where pieces are there's a much higher frame rate on things. People are already playing video games with higher frame rates as well.
They haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like that's yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
video
like,
games
well-
are 60 frames a second.
And have been since Dreamcast.
Right. Really? Dreamcast?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
That's
Kudos
why.
to them.
Well, that's the thing is the frame rates were there, but the dimensions were not.
Oh, okay.
So like it looks. That's why Dreamcast games look so incredibly like smooth,
Right.
but also very like different.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And you're also probably not processing that as looking cheap. You're just processing that as, wow, the Dreamcast looks different. And you can equate that novelty into looking good. And so over time, because of the language of YouTube and because of the language of other people that are putting forth higher frame rates, that piece is just going to become more and more prevalent to the point where more than likely they will reissue classic films at higher frame rates.
So did the N64 have the dimensions right then?
Oh, the dimension. No, N64 was like 3 something by 2 something. Like that was like. I don't remember. Like I watched too much shit, but like God, Soul Reaver. I forget. I was trying to remember. There was something that they went between like the 3. Like that's why, like N64, like especially anything you're doing like polygons with, is pushing that system like so far. Especially the N64, which that's why like HD games, like N64 needs it more than like anything. Like re-ups of like Ocarina and Majora's Mask on 3DS look amazing because it was just a really, I don't know. That's, as someone who was a little older at that time, I found polygons pretty ugly. Like I didn't have a PS1 for that reason.
Really?
Like I needed that first generation in between because I still, it's not one that I can go back for nostalgia.
Right.
I think there's stuff that plays incredibly well, and I can like push past it. But like, yeah, like I played Ballerina to Shinden, and I forget what else was like the launch titles, like even for PS1, and it's just like hideous to me. Versus like, well, because when you get to the end of a console, they're pushing the boundaries. The Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, like all the stuff that was like the last bastion of Super Nintendo stuff is gorgeous, and you go from that to trying something very, very different, and them going, oh, this is what people want, we're all gonna try it.
Yeah.
And that's why like Symphony of the Night was so gorgeous, because they're like, no, we're gonna do this like 2D game, and we're going to use the system. Yeah. But somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
So it's just not an era I go back to quite as much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Video game movies.
I've talked about for too many years.
I'm so old for this shit.
Yeah. Let me tie back to Jordan Voight Roberts, who's fighting very, very hard for Metal Gear right now, which I really like Jordan Voight Roberts. He did this movie, The Kings of Summer, that's on Amazon Prime, that I really, really recommend. Because Jordan Voight Roberts
I think that was shot in Ohio. Was Alison Brie in that?
Alison Brie. I don't know.
Alison Brie.
Oh yeah, Alison Brie was in that. Yep.
Yeah, that was in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from Bowling Green, Ohio. He's nowhere close to Cleveland.
Okay. No, he's because he's a Chicago comedy guy. Like Kings of Summer has got Kumail. It's got Alison Brie. It's Nick Offerman. It's who's like 1,000 guys, like everybody but T.J. Miller from Silicon Valley. It's all this like cavalcade of like comedians. He just
all
has
the improv people.
Improv and stand-up people, yeah. And it's just like Jordan Voight Roberts has an incredible eye for this stuff, and he's also at this point like the people making movies have grown up with games, right? So they're not going, what do people who play games want? It's like, oh, I know what this game feels like, and ultimately, to me that's what you need. Like tone is the most important thing to me to get right. So the first Silent Hill was so close.
Yeah.
If the script was better, like
that script is weird.
The script wasn't good.
I mean, all Silent Hill games are really
they're
off.
Well, yes, but the movie was just like it was a very sloppy script, but it was shot like it felt like playing. Like the first Silent Hill movie from Christopher Gans was the guy who did Brotherhood of the Wolf. Felt right, like the tone was right. They got Akira Yamaoka to do like a lot of music. They did a couple shots that were kind of like shots from the game, but it didn't feel as gimmicky as like the last act of Doom that was all first person, which was hilarious. And that movie was dumb fun, but it wasn't like you're not like, oh, video game movies have made it.
No.
But it's tone. It's just like, how do you look? I mean, we can talk adaptations in general, right?
Sure.
Like you have to use the medium. We've talked about it with improv, right?
Yeah.
Why is this improv?
Right.
Why are you doing this as improv? So why are you doing this as a movie? Why are you doing this as a book?
Yeah.
I feel like
this as a comic.
Gears of War is one that I'm kind of hoping and anticipating can do it correctly and do it well. Because it was a great storyline.
Well, I was gonna say, what can it do better in a movie than the experience you had playing it as a game? Because that's the big question to me, right? Because you take something like think about Shadow of the Colossus, which they've been trying for a long time. A lot of that was like getting empathy for the things that you're fighting,
right?
Because you're literally controlling a character and you don't want to stab the monsters. Like it was a big thing at the time, and that's why I'm one of those rare people that doesn't love the game, because I just literally hated doing it.
Yeah.
The game was working so good, but it was yeah. I knew what it was doing right off. It's just I don't want to stab these things.
Yeah.
It makes me feel icky.
Yeah. That's fair.
But it also has like a great sense of like scale and a lot of this other stuff, which you can get out of a movie, but it's not the point of the game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and games, it's so the experience is so personalized to you. Right. I mean, that can be said for any art form, but since you're controlling it, you feel more connected to that character.
Right.
Where all the other mediums kind of lack that.
Well, and then what's their strength though?
Right.
What's their strength over games?
I don't know. I love video games, so
passivity. You're not with a film. You could ostensibly just let the thing wash over you, as opposed to a video game where I guess you could just sit there and just not touch the controller, sit over you, but you're not. That would be the same as a film.
Sure.
A video game requires interaction which makes it more personable,
Yeah.
as opposed to a movie where you sit there and the artist is they're arting at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're more of a fly on the wall during the movie, where in the game you are doing something. Yeah.
You are the fly on the wall.
With a video game, you run a higher risk of creating your own artistic context.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Sometimes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Depending on the game.
Yeah, depending on the game. I guess Mario was kind of a one and done thing. Although
that's the thing though, right? That's the larger discussion of narrative isn't just the story you're being told, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the narrative of Mario, and then there's the meta narrative of what your life is, and you're merging both of those things.
Sure.
And then it suddenly means something, as opposed to, more than likely, well, I guess now you can merge movies with the narrative of your own life, because you can be on your phone and figure out life-shattering news while watching Netflix. But more often than not, the suggested medium is to watch this in a completely dark room with your eyes fixated on a giant picture.
Yeah.
Therefore, the art is arting at you, and it is grand, as opposed to a video game, but you kind of you can intuit a little bit more. And
yeah, because I kind of feel like Earthbound to me. I'm not a huge Earthbound fan. My roommate loves. I didn't grow up on it.
Yeah.
My roommate loved it. He loves NES. He loves everything NES. So I've played the game now as an adult. So like, I can't help but feel anytime I see like young kids and it's summer, I'm like, oh dude, it reminds me of Earthbound. So and I kind of feel like that's what I kind of like. Like when I watched it, I was like, dude, it really reminds me of Earthbound. Like these kids going on a crazy adventure trying to stop these people or anything.
Just combining those two things is really fun, whether it's a game or a movie right now.
Yeah.
Well, and like I guess Earthbound sort of was that like Stephen King like boys on an adventure kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like going into the unknown, but we're going in it together with friendship and the power of positivity.
Right.
That we're gonna get through it.
And then they do.
And they do, for whatever reason. But yeah, and it kinda like I like that feeling.
Yeah.
So like I feel like any movie that can give me that I would like. I think to me you've done the job well, in my opinion. Like I didn't get that from Doom. So I was just like, we didn't do it.
Right.
So I think. I mean, yeah.
No, I agree. I think
did you like Doom?
I'm not a video game person.
But you like Carl Urban and you like The Rock.
I do love Carl Urban. That's actually true.
Yeah.
I do love The Rock.
That's actually true.
You probably don't like Nazis.
I
Hell monsters.
Like Nazis. What?
Hell monsters.
Hell monsters.
Don't like hell monsters.
So it checks off
You
all
like
the
Doom?
boxes.
I don't.
Right there.
I don't like first-person shooters.
Me neither, honestly.
They
for that much.
They spook me too much.
Really?
Don't like getting spooked.
I like a lot of I don't like a lot of trying to be realistic shooters. I like Borderlands. I like stuff that's
very removed from reality.
And it's the same way I treat like sports games. I don't like sports games that make me want to play soccer. I want to play Punch Out. I want to play something that's
NFL
big
Blitz.
and cartoon.
Yeah.
Exaggerated.
Okay.
So go out and buy NFL Blitz tonight and go play it.
Great game.
And see.
You like Mission Impossible 2 over Mission Impossible 3.
Never saw 2.
Oh,
That's the only.
it's so doofy.
Yeah.
And then you sit with a big smile on your
It's
face.
so doofy. I love it. It's really doofy if you're trying to assign your own logic to it. But if you're going, okay, these action films are these set pieces are emotions, and you're treating these action set pieces, which I need to watch the rest of the pantheon of John Woo's movies. But I have a sneaky suspicion that the set pieces in his films are the same as musical set pieces within musicals, which is to say, the characters can't. The motion boils over and suddenly action scene. Tandy Newton, Tom Cruise have so much implied sexual tension that suddenly a set piece breaks out, and that's their courtship, a car chase.
Yeah.
That's their love language.
It is. Yeah, their love language is car chase
chases.
on a cliff. Yeah.
The Team America, everybody's fighting in the plane crash, action set piece is like, it's a comedy, but it's also brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Limp
seems
Bizkit
like-
kept me from seeing that movie.
Who?
That-
What?
Limp Bizkit was the biggest part of the trailer because they did the theme to 2, and it was kind of like a big like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I just learned that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's filled with new rock. It's great. I love it.
I probably
that-
would now. Yeah.
On that note,
You want to button this?
Yeah, I want to end it. There it is.
And say you'll be for me.